what happens when the property market crashes? Now, it's a question I get asked a lot. When's Melbourne going to crash? When's Sydney going to crash? When's the whole property market going to crash? Are we in a bubble? Is things going to change? And after, COVID starts to disappear, what's going on? Now, I want to talk a little bit about history and what's happened in the past and what's happened with different markets when there's been crashes in certain states or certain areas in Australia. Now, when the property market crashes, and it's on the news, on the headlines, they're bringing it up. It's crashing, which it has in the past. It hasn't done it for a very long time in Australia, but there has been pockets that have been decreasing. But when you hear all these headlines, and they're going to be coming out probably down in the future. If you're someone my age, 28, you probably haven't seen this before. But if you're a baby boomer, you've seen it before in the 90s. Now, you hear all this news, there's, markets are crashing and they're dropping. And there's, back in the 90s, we had Melbourne that dropped, certain markets were dropping 30% or more. Okay. Now, when you start seeing that, doesn't mean the whole country is crashing. Doesn't mean every suburb in Australia is crashing. So this is something to take into consideration. As you see things start to drop in certain markets, there's other markets rising. Same with stock markets. You might see the stock market crash. There's going to be, of course, they might all crash at the same time, but then there's some going to recover and boot up, and there's going to be a V-shaped recovery. Now, the stock market and the property market don't really work similar. I guess the fundamentals are a lot different when you analyze a market, but I guess when property markets crash and I guess stock markets crash, they do come into sync with each other. But let's not get into that topic. So when something's crashing, when a property market's crashing, people think that everything's going to crash. And I want to paint a picture here and talk about other markets when they were crashing, I guess in the 90s / 80s, 80/90, sorry. And what was happening in certain regions or states compared to, I guess, other states. So let's get into it. So in Melbourne, from 89 to 1993, there was a crash. Now, this is, I guess, the whole of Melbourne. It dropped, minus 5%, 5.3%. Now, in Melbourne at that time, there was actually markets that dropped, 30 to 50% during that time, which is a lot. Now, there was even some other places that could even drop more than that. I know my uncle, for a fact, he actually lost on a property deal that he purchased. He lost over $80,000. I know other people all my uncle's friends, I remember they was telling me stories, over $200,000 they lost on property when they purchased in the 80s, and then what they purchased, I guess, when they sold it, I guess in the late or mid 90s. Okay, so it was a massive drop in Melbourne. But during this time, if we have a look, I guess, at the other states, we have a look at Sydney. Sydney increased 10%, but then if you look at your Hobart, if you look at Brisbane in the same time, they increased 34% in Hobart, and you had Brisbane increase 42%. So when there's certain states or capital cities or territories dropping, there's going to be other ones, growing up in value, increasing. And why is that? Is because they have driving economic fundamentals that are driving the market. What's going on? What's happening? Is there government funding? Is there infrastructure projects? Are the things getting created to stimulate the economy? There's a lot of things that will help the property market increase, of course. So not every property market is treated equally. When there's a crash, there's always other markets growing in value. So people think they're going to stop when the market crashes, maybe stop investing and, pull down the brakes. Yes, there's a time when you're going to stop, pull the brakes up, analyze what's going on, have a look at other markets, seeing what's going on and seeing what's happening. So doesn't mean to stop. Doesn't mean to stop at certain points. If you've got the funds and you're in a great financial position, this is times we actually look of going on, looking around what's happening in the markets and seeing that, okay, maybe in 89, maybe it was a good time to stop getting out of Melbourne and Sydney, and well, let's go into Hobart, let's go into Brisbane, and achieve that capital growth over that certain period. So you got to look at everything, I guess, from a bird's eye view, looking around what's happening and understanding, I guess, where the economy is going. Property is all about economics. So understanding the bond market, understanding, I guess, interest rates, understanding, I guess, government spending, and there's a whole bunch of other things that we need to look at as well. So when something is dropping in value, there's always going to be something rising. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. Keep that in mind. So don't panic, I guess, if you think that there's going to be markets dropping, and that's the whole economy of Australia and the whole property market. No, there's going to be other markets outperforming other markets when there is a downturn trend. Okay, but you have to have the understanding and the mental fortitude to understand what's going on with the property markets. And this is where having a team of experts that know more than you, because you don't want to be, you don't want to have a team where you're the smartest person in your team. You always want to have people that are better and smarter around you, so they can help you and you can all grow together. Everyone's got different strengths and weaknesses, and this is where you have, you've got a property, a buyer's agent, you've got a good financial broker, you've got a good accountant, you've got someone that they know as well that's really switched on when it comes to economics as well. Everyone plays a part with this, financial planner, financial advisor as well. So this is understanding, what's going on in the market, analyzing these things deeply and understanding what's driving the markets and what's not. So just wanted to paint this out because when there's other markets dropping, there's other markets rising. So just keep that in mind. And if you have an understanding about fundamentals, about economics, this is what's going to help you achieve the result you want in a downturn market. Thank you for watching this video. If you got any questions or anything that you'd like to reach out about us at Fresh Start Advisory, please do like this video, share this video with other people. And like I said, if you want us to create content or you've got any questions about something that's on your mind, please reach out, because I love to create these sort of videos to help and inspire people and educate them when it comes to property investing and just a whole general space of economics. So thank you for watching this video.